Welcome back, my friends, to my channel and another creative video, and welcome to 10 days of Vlogmas. For the next 10 days, I will be sharing a creative video with you, hopefully getting you inspired when it comes to creativity during this time of year. And today we're kicking things off with creating handmade cards and envelopes that we decorate with some big illustrative bows. Before we dive in, I just want to let you know that I just dropped my 2026 lineup of classes that will be kicking off in January. So if you're looking for some new inspiration, some unique ideas and concepts to kickstart your own creativity, you can visit the link in the description box below if you want to check out all of my new offerings. So before we dive into creating our envelopes and our cards, I want to show you what it looks like to actually create your own hand-folded envelope. Again, super fun and easy to use with scrap paper. Well, you could definitely buy blank envelopes and work alongside. I think it's fun to fold up and create your own because it gives you lots of different options. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is start with a square piece of paper that you first fold diagonally. I find that you can work with this square in a variety of different sizes. And the size of my own piece of paper is 9 by 9. Now I am folding it diagonal across 2 times on each side where I will have those lines running down the middle. I'm then going to fold on each of the sides into that middle line that you can see with those folds. And I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. Now everybody knows I'm not a big perfectionist, so mine is not going to be absolutely perfect because I don't tend to be perfect in any of my creative projects. But you can see with my envelope, I'm starting to build what looks like a very traditionally shaped envelope. If at any point things feel off, you can always refold. And you can see that as I then fold my top little flap down, I've got a really nice little traditional shaped envelope. Now, for the sake of repetition and watching this again, I'm going to play this in a speed that is not slowed down so you can see how simple and easy this is in live times. You can see in my normal speed of the video, it's a really quick process just getting things folded up. While taking time to fold and create your own handmade envelopes and cards can be a lot slower and a lot more time consuming than purchasing things. I love this as a way to personalize a special gift, a special letter that you drop in the mail, or utilizing scraps and things that you might already have on hand, things in the recycling bin that you can alter and transform and turn into something unique to definitely give during the holiday season. But I think any time of year, doing something like this handmade is a really fun, special way to put your own twist on things. It's also a really fun way to get creative with paper, whether it's altering papers or using beautiful papers you already have on hand. Again, making use of things you might have in your stash, upcycling old wrapping paper. The sky is the limit when it comes to creating your own envelopes and even card designs. Now, the key to making those envelopes permanent when you are ready is actually gluing things down. Now, when you are ready to secure, you're going to want to use your adhesive. I am using just good old-fashioned tacky glue, and you're going to see I'm adding a little bead of glue to the area where my 3 corners intersect. It's like to add a little scrap piece of paper inside while it's drying so nothing sticks together, but you can see how simple this is, how fun it looks on patterned paper. And it's such a fun way to put your own creative twist on surfaces and things that you can alter or completely make your own. Now, you could certainly draw and work over the top of envelopes that you have already purchased, but I just really love using materials that I have on hand. And one of my favorite materials for handmade envelopes and cards is actually brown craft paper. I always have some kind of stash of brown paper on hand in my studio, sometimes on a roll, sometimes different sheets and pieces, scraps. I love drawing on it, painting on it. It's perfect for both envelopes and cards and a really fun way to make use of illustrations. I love the way all those black details look set against that brown paper. It's perfect for the holiday season, but it'll work basically any time of year for your stationery that you create. I love a good matching card and envelope, especially when it is handmade. And today I want to share with you one of my favorite little designs, and you can use it in a variety of different ways. And once you get comfortable with drawing, doodling, or creating this design, you can really add it in different sizes, different shapes, different colors to a variety of different card designs, as well as those envelopes. So it is a big bow. I love using a bow to adorn a variety of surfaces. It's such a fun way to create more of that gift or holiday look. You could actually use this any time of year depending on the colors that you pick. And for this specific example, I'm keeping it really simple with a black line drawing. So I'm using an envelope that I pre-folded and is out of that brown craft paper. And I'm going to make a card in the same way to match. So they'll really go together in a fun, creative way. Now, I'm keeping this portion of the video in normal time so you can see in a slow version how I draw my bow. You will see that I used a pencil to lightly sketch it out, and I'm keeping things really simple. I've got that knot in the middle and the two little sides of that bow sticking out. You can really have fun with variations of this. Make it real big and puffy. You can make it thin and small. I actually like offsetting a bow on a surface, putting it over in a corner, letting it kind of go off the page. You can also use those free little ribbons on the edges to kind of twirl and curve around that surface. Now, since I'm just using my black pen, I want to bring a little bit of life to this bow, and I'm going to be doing that through the use of darkening things up here and there, and then adding lots of little lines to take the place of details or folds within that bow. Now, if you want to have fun with some kind of a pattern, if you want to play with color, this is your chance to go into that space and do that. But I'm just using my black pen to add those details. You're going to notice as I add those details, I add a lot of lines. I want this to look and feel like there is a drawing on this envelope, like it feels handmade and hand done. And the way that I know to do this is to use my own style of drawing, especially when I'm using a pen, and using a lot of details and lines to embellish and bring my very basic shape to life. And I personally just love having a big bow on that surface. And while you could definitely pair this with other concepts, there's something really simple that I enjoy about just a black line drawing over the top of that envelope. And you'll see as I begin to add space for a label, it just really brings this envelope to life in a very creative way. But those bow drawings can be incredibly simple. There's not a lot of effort that goes into it. It might take a couple practice tries with your pencil to figure out how you want to draw your bow, but please notice that mine is incredibly simple, and it's actually all the attention to the details that really make it unique and interesting. It's also attention to darkening up some of the curves and edges throughout my bow drawing. So I love going back in, darkening up an edge, maybe darkening up a little corner that curves. It's one of my fastest, easiest, quick ways that you could really elevate a very simple line drawing and create a lot of depth and interest, even if it still is quite simple. What I love about a bow is that it can feel like you are giving a gift. Oftentimes, I do not have ribbon or bows on hand when I am wrapping presents or holiday gifts, and I love pulling out my pen or some paint and drawing or painting a bow over the top of an envelope or a package. It's a really fun way to get creative with drawing. And I love that the outside of that envelope can feel like a really special gift with that bow drawing over the top of that surface. Now, once again, you can get creative with adding your label. I really enjoy using that paint to add a shape or space for that label. I really enjoy the combination of that craft paper, those black lines, and then I'll be using a white pen to go over the top of my area for those labels. I just think the pairing of that black, that parchment color, and the color white work really well together. They're kind of a classic look and feel. And so I'm keeping my colors really basic for this particular example. And then of course, once things dry, once you're ready to label things up, depending on the way that you're using it, you can add that address or a name, depending on how you are using your envelope and your card. Again, I love offsetting that bow because it gives kind of a special decorative look and feel, but you can get really creative with where you place that bow on an envelope, how big it is. You could use lots of little bows all over that surface. I love curving those ribbon edges around my area where the label is. It just gives a really special look and feel. But what I really enjoy doing is actually creating a matching card to go with that envelope. And the way I'm doing this is just by folding up another piece of that craft paper. I've cut it to size so it fits inside of my envelope, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to be drawing that same bow over the top of that surface so that it feels like it kind of mimics and complements the look of that envelope, so that when you pull it out, it feels like the two really go together. But this time around, I'm going to play around with space a little bit. I placed that bow in the very, very middle, and I've let those little ribbons kind of curve up the sides, even go off the edges. And what I'm going to end up doing is actually trimming off the bottom half of that bow. So there's a little opening that there's some really unique use of space. It's a really simple way to play around with the fun shape and movement of those ribbons and lines and create a very simple card that feels quite special and a little bit embellished. I'm going to get that bow drawn in and use the same concept with those lines and details, and I'll meet you back here when I cut off that little bottom edge and just finish up this card. All right, so the last step for this little idea is to actually trim off the bottom half underneath that bow. And it's really just a fun way to make use of that beautiful shape of those ribbons within that bow. It's just a fun way to create a simple card that kind of packs a punch in an interesting and unique way and also complements that envelope. Now, again, I am using that craft paper, but if you want to use something a little bit more stable, you could use cardstock or your favorite mixed media papers, watercolor paper. I really wanted to play around with the color of that brown craft paper, which I enjoy so much. So my card's not as stable as maybe some other papers might be, but you can see you've got a fun little edge to that card, a fun space to write inside of it where maybe some of that writing will even show through. And it's just a fun little twist on playing around with the shape of that bow. I always like to go back in and darken up the edge of my bow so it really pops once everything's closed. Just a fun, unique way to really make use of drawing of the shape of that bow, the lines, and have fun with the concept. You can absolutely play around with color, but really the sky's the limit with this concept, adding a little decorative pattern to those bows, playing around with color, utilizing different surfaces to work on. A bow is a really fun way to adorn just about any surface and a fun way to utilize a concept during the holidays or any type of gift giving.